stage if they pass all the stages that are remaining. They to the suspension of standing orders 27 and 123. We now seem to have a quorum. We cross over to the right, Madam Speaker, for the resumption of business. Keep watching Parliament Television.
Order, honorable members. When business was suspended, the House was considering the ministerial statement presented by the Honorable Minister of Home Affairs and Internal Security, and the Honorable Minister had just finished responding to a question on a point of clarification by the Honorable Member for Shangobo. Any further questions or points of clarification on the ministerial statement? The Honorable Member from Mufumbwe.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and I would like to thank the Honorable Minister for this statement. Honorable Minister, I would like to agree with you that in Mufumba, as you may be aware, Mufumba is one of the most vast constituencies in Zambia. From Goma to Mufumba to Ndunga, it's about 420 kilometers. Now, one of the challenges that we faced during the last registration was that people kept on saying they didn't have the gadgets. And also, one of the other challenges was the issue to do with fuel. How about this time? What have you organized, put in place to make sure that those challenges which we faced, which disadvantage a lot of people in Shimpandanga ward, in Miluji ward, in Kanyankulo, those areas which are near Kaoma and Mumbwa, what can you assure the people from Mufumbwe that the situation is not going to be the same, so that most of them would be left out and all of them are going to be captured? Thank you.
Thank you, the Honorable Minister of Home Affairs and Internal Security.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I would like to sympathize with my colleague, the Honorable Member of Parliament for Mufumbwe. And I would like to urge, as he goes back to Mufumbwe, to mobilize his people to demand that Mufumbwe be delimited. And that is why, us as a listening government, we have listened to the cries of the people of Zambia, that a number of constituencies should be delimited, taking into account the issue of race. Honorable Member of Parliament, through you, Madam Speaker, I would like to assure the honorable colleagues here that we have the necessary equipment to ensure that we will have a smooth mobile registration in all the constituencies. We are waiting for funding. We have been assured once the funding is given to us, there will be no other issues. We will take into account all the other concerns that are being raised by members of Parliament. Thank you.
Thank you. The Honorable Member for Bwengwa.
Madam Speaker, thank you very much. Minister, thank you for your statement. Honorable Madam Speaker, I was so shocked when I saw a certain honorable member of Parliament who rose here on a point of order. Yes, he had to talk about discrimination when he was the #1 discriminating individual in this country. And I remember one time when I rose on a point of order during the last sitting.
Order, Honorable Member for Bwengwa. Order. Order, Honorable Member for Bwengwa. Order. I was just saying, now I'm calling on the Honorable Member for Bwengwa to ask a point of clarification, and if he transgresses, he's going to pay a cow. So now we are going treading on dangerous ground. You'll be sanctioned to pay a cow. So ask a point of clarification, Honorable Member.
Thank you very much, Honorable Madam Speaker. Honorable Minister, you are quite aware that the Monza district were in question, Monza Central City, your constituency, and Momba, we were one of the heavily neglected districts in terms of NRC issuance last time. And we were given on a daily basis, I think in book also, we were given on a daily basis just to issue just 3 NRCs. Now, Honorable Minister, that time I think you are quite aware that those things were happening. Now, Honorable Minister, are you going to behave in a similar fashion with the way the PF behaved when they were ruling Zambia, when they were supposed to treat the Zambian people equally? Are you going to behave in a similar fashion of the PF discrimination? Thank you very much, Honorable Madam Speaker.
Order, order. Honorable Member for Mukuchi South, what is the point of order?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I sympathize with you, PND, because we are only remaining with few months to go. Madam Speaker, the Honorable Member for Wengwa, is insinuating that Honorable Minister, are you going to behave the way is he in about PF when he cannot even substantiate and what and how when he in this country was able to get analysis, they got analysis. And that's why you even got a lot of votes in some of these parts of the country. I think you're serious ruling, Madam Speaker.
Now that's the problem of not listening to the debate when the proceedings are ongoing. Honorable Member from Mukuchi South, you recall that this issue was raised by the Honorable Member for Shiwangandu, and the Honorable Minister also responded. So let's not keep on going back and forth. The Honorable Minister was stating from what he found in the house, in his office, and the Honorable Member for Shiwangandu, and they guided. So let's not go back. And you keep on saying they are going, they are going. Are you coming? The Honorable Minister of only if your IQ is very high, you can appreciate the joke. The Honorable Minister of Home Affairs and Internal Security.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, as I indicated in my ministerial statement, we as UPND are going to be very transparent. We are not going to be discriminatory. We are going to start this process in all the 10 provinces. And we are going to ensure we provide the requisite equipment so that national registration cards are given to all Zambians. Before I sit, Madam Speaker, I would like to respond to the Honorable Member of Parliament for Mukuchi South, who won by very small margin, that he is not going to come back in 20. I hear he won by 3 votes. And if we recounted, we would have found that he had lost. But because they said they were in power that time, they tinkered with the processes. He is not coming back, Madam Speaker, the Honorable Member.
So, I thought the Honorable Minister would not say back. He would just say he's not coming. Okay, let's make progress. The Honorable Member for Solwezi East.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. And it's always a pleasure to see you in a jovial mood. Minister, I want to find out, Madam Speaker, you talked about the lower limit in terms of the age. Those who have attained 16 years and above qualified to get an NRC. I want to find out on the upper limit, beyond which age should one not get an NRC, because we have cases like in Mushindamu, where we were disadvantaged, discriminated, and people have lived 30 years, no NRC, but yet they are citizens of Zambia. And when it comes to issuance of NRCs, they are told, no, you are too old, you can't get the NRC. So I want to find out from you, so as this exercise commences, which age limit or the upper limit should one say you will not be able to get an NRC? Thank you.
The Honorable Minister of Home Affairs and Internal Security.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, the minimum age of acquiring an NRC is 16 years. There is no maximum age. It depends on the circumstances. As I indicated when I was responding to the question raised by the Honorable Member of Shangombo, that it depends on the circumstances. In certain areas, Madam Speaker, it was almost impossible to acquire national registration card. Provided there is evidence to show that the individual is a Zambian, after all thorough investigations and consultations, they will be given national registration card, Madam Speaker. Thank you.
Thank you. The Honorable Member for Bangweru.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Honorable Minister, it is true that issuance of continuous issuance of NRCs started in 2022 in some parts. And if you recall, Madam Speaker, I've raised this question in this House twice. And I saw the Minister maybe a month ago concerning the continuous issuance of NRCs. So it is true that I want to put it on record that it's true. The continuous issuance of NRCs started in 2022 in some parts of the country. And then I also want to maybe suggest to ask the Minister so that we deal with this issue of suspicion, propaganda, and insinuation of who got disadvantaged in the past or not. Is it possible, Madam Speaker, for the Minister to come back to this House with data? Because being a chairperson for search in the Central Committee of PF, I do a lot of checkups when these issues are raised by the public. I've been to some of those places where this continuous voter registration is undertaken. So is it possible for the Minister, for the purposes of closing this chapter, Madam Speaker, to come with data of how many NRCs were obtained in all parts of this country between 2016 and 2021, and also to provide information of how many NRCs have been captured so far from 2021 to date, so that we bring this matter to a close. It is not good, Madam Speaker, each time a question is asked to the Minister to provide an answer, it refers to PF. Is PF your yardstick of your performance? So I'm asking, Madam Speaker, so that the Minister comes back in the form of a ministerial statement to give figures, because I do know figures that there are less figures in Muchinga, Northern Province, and Ruapula, as opposed to those who are reported to have been a disadvantage. Madam Speaker, that is my submission.
I will allow the Honorable Minister to respond.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, the Honorable Member is asking me whether we will always be using PF as the yardstick. I would say yes. Just like me, I'm a Christian. I'm a Christian, and whenever I'm preaching and wanting to convert people, I always refer to Satan. That the people of Zambia who want to convert should not be involved with Satan. That is our belief as Christians. There is no Christian who cannot be referring to Satan when you are preaching, unless you are not a Christian. And that's what I'm doing here. So, for me, if I want to show how we have progressed, I have to refer to PF. Because they were in government. So I will not be wrong by doing that. Madam Speaker, if it is the wish of the Honorable Member of Parliament for me to come with evidence in this House, it should not just start from 2021.
should start from the period when they were doing mobile issuance of national registration cards. Because we'll be able, you said 20 to 21, we will be able to show the discrimination that occurred. We'll be able to show even the notices that were issued by the Minister of Home Affairs pertaining to the extensions of issuance of mobile registration cards. And we'll be able to show the instructions that were given that they should stop issuing the national registration cards. And if they insist, we'll be able to bring cards here to show that they were giving cards to 10-year-old kids. I have that evidence. And I'll be able to show and bring the names of individuals who are involved in those exercises. If he insists, I'm going to do that very happily, if that is what you want. And that day, Madam Speaker, would you allow us to debate the individuals, the MPs in this House who were involved in that exercise? I thank you, Madam Speaker.
For me, I don't know whether that is the wish of the House that we go to that extent. And also it will not achieve what we want to, it won't be progressive. What we want to ensure is that the members of the public get the national registration cards. Those who have lost national registration cards get a replacement. But going back to 2016, really, what are we trying to achieve? Of course, you can compare against performance and what have you, but we don't want to unruffle the feathers and turn this House into a boxing ring. If honorable members want to engage in some boxing, we can have a feud outside there. One day we can agree that let's go and have boxing outside. Then others will be cheerleaders, we can divide ourselves, but we will not be able to achieve anything. So, honorable members, I appeal to all of you that let's do something that will add value to the process, being representatives of the next question will be from the honorable member for Mitete.
Madam Speaker, thank you very much. Minister, are you aware that Mitete 2016 to 2021, the population was growing up, the issuance of NRCs going down? Are you aware? If you are aware, what are you going to do to the people of Mitete? Now that again you have stated to say, in the next 2 weeks, for 3 months, the issuance of NRCs will be taking place when it is flooded in Mitete. It is flooded now. How are your officers going to reach the areas you have stated as far-flung areas? Mitete. Are you going to provide the choppers for them? Madam Speaker, it's not a laughing matter for now. It's flooded in Mitete. 2016, 2021, disadvantaged. Now this time when this is happening, it is also flooded. How are you going to help the Mitete people to get NRCs? Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you very much. The Honorable Minister of Home Affairs and Internal Security.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I'm aware of the situation in Mitete, and I would like to assure my colleague, the Honorable Member of Parliament, that we shall do everything possible to ensure that the people of Mitete acquire NRCs. We have motorboats which will be using in areas that are flooded, like Mitete. Please be assured.
Okay. Thank you very much. And that concludes that segment, so we make progress. I have also again permitted the Honorable Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation to present another ministerial statement. The Honorable Minister of Foreign Affairs and International.
Madam Speaker, thank you once again for affording me this opportunity to present a ministerial statement regarding the attendance by Zambia to the 38th ordinary session of the of February 2025. Madam Speaker, I wish to report to this august House that Zambia was among the 49 out of 55 African Union member states that participated at the 38th ordinary session of the Assembly of Heads of State and Government of the African Union held in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. The Assembly, Madam Speaker, was from the 15th to the 16th of February 2025, as aforementioned, under the theme of the year, and I quote, "Justice for Africans and people of African descent through reparations," close quote. As the practice, Madam Speaker, the summit was preceded by the 46th ordinary session of the Executive Council of the African Union, comprising ministers of foreign affairs of the AU member states, held from 12th to 13th February 2025, and the ordinary session of the CPRC, composed of permanent representatives, ambassadors, that is to say, accredited to the African Union, held from 14th to 31st January 2025. Madam Speaker, the Zambian delegation by the Republic of Zambia, Mr. Hakainde Hichilema. The President was accompanied by myself, Honorable Princess Kasune M. Deputy Secretary to the Cabinet, and senior government officials. The major highlight of the Assembly was the launch of the African Union theme for the year 2025, which is premised on the desire to address past wrongs and the historical injustice that Africa continues to suffer as a result of the effects of colonialism, transatlantic enslavement, apartheid, and other systems of discrimination. That Zambia supported the theme of the exploitation of our people and resources suffered during the colonial era, like many African nations. It is in this context that Zambia supported the call for honest conversations on past eventualities. Therefore, the summit designated reparations for the transatlantic slave trade, colonialism, and apartheid as the flagship issue and project for the African Union, with a view to embrace advocacy for the African common position on reparations for Africa. Madam Speaker, other key highlights of the 38th ordinary session of the AU Assembly included elections and appointments of AU Commission Chairperson, Deputy Chairperson, Commissioners, as well as other candidatures of AU organs. Other issues considered were the third African Implementation and Partnership Conference on AFCON 3, the African Union C10 on the reform of the UN Security Council, health matters, the African Union Development Leopard, the African Peer Review Mechanism, APRM, and peace and security matters, as well as climate change issues, amongst the many items for consideration.
On the elections and appointments of senior staff at the African Union Commission, Madam Speaker, I wish to inform the House that His Excellency Mr. Mahmoud Ali Yusuf of Djibouti and Her Excellency Selma Malika Haddadi of Algeria were elected as African Union Commission Chairperson and Deputy Chairperson respectively, replacing His Excellency Musa Faki Mahamat of Chad and Dr. Monique of Rwanda, whose terms of office had come to an end. It gives me great pleasure to inform the House that during the session on elections to different African Union organs, the summit endorsed the election of members of the African Union Advisory Board on Corruption, to which a Zambian national, Ms. Yvonne Mutepuka Chibia, was elected for a second term in office. Madam Speaker, during discussion on matters proposed by member states, I am further pleased to inform the House that the summit adopted a decision proposed by Zambia on the hosting of Pan-African 3 in Lusaka, Zambia, from 27th to 29th May 2025, under the theme Assuring Water Security and Safe Sanitation for the Africa we want. In this regard, President Hichilema was requested to provide leadership and inspire action to implement the eventual outcomes of Pan-African 3 and present for the consideration of the next summit an implementation framework for the vision and policy that is aligned to and will motivate action to realize aspiration 1 of the AU Agenda 2063, that being, quote, a prosperous Africa based on inclusive growth and sustainable development, close quotes. Further, governments and support institutions were requested to ensure the success of the conference and the contribution of the post-2025 Africa Water Vision and Policy in influencing the global agenda on water and sanitation. I am pleased to inform this August House that the significance of Zambia's hosting the Water Conference is that we have an opportunity to be part of the agenda setters, noting that the African Union theme for the year 2026 is or shall be assuring sustainable water availability and safe sanitation systems to achieve the goals of Agenda 2063. Madam Speaker, during discussions on the report of the Committee of 10, the C10, Heads of State and Government, Committee of 10 Heads of State and Government on the reform of the United Nations Security Council, the Assembly took note of the renewed momentum and the continued support for the Common Africa position as espoused in the Ezulwini Consensus and the Sita Declaration on the reform of the United Nations Security Council, and the call for Africa to be treated as a priority and special case in the reform process to correct this historical injustice. Excuse me. It gives me great pleasure to inform the House that Zambia's hosting of the 13th ministerial meeting of the Committee of 10 from 4th to 6th June 2025 in Lusaka was also highlighted during the summit. The significance of hosting this meeting is that it gives Zambia, an opportunity to reassert itself as an active player in emerging issues of continental and global significance, such as the United Nations Security Council reforms. To recall, Madam Speaker, the words of the President when he addressed this House, it is a personification of the expression Zambia Kuchalo, meaning Zambia to the world. Madam Speaker, also worth noting were discussions around various health-related matters. On efforts towards enhancing domestic health financing, Zambia was commended for being among the 9 African Union member states that successfully concluded the National Health Financing Dialogues. To this end, member states were encouraged to integrate the outcomes of regional health financing hubs into national strategies to achieve universal health coverage and sustainable health outcomes. Madam Speaker, during discussions on the report report of the Outer NEPAD Heads of State and Government Orientation Committee, the Assembly reaffirmed the central role as well as the growing influence and impact of the Outer NEPAD as the premier development agency of the African Union, with the mandate to coordinate and execute priority regional and continental projects towards the Accelerated Vision 2063 agenda. In this regard, the tenure of the Outer NEPAD Heads of State and Government Orientation Committee, to which Zambia is a member, was extended by 1 year. Under this matter, Zambia reiterated readiness to host the World Skills Africa Conference and competition, which was postponed to November 2025. Madam Speaker, on consideration of the report of the African Peer Review Mechanism, it gives me once again immense pleasure to inform the House that the Assembly welcomed Zambia's second generation peer report and congratulated President Hakainde Hichilema for the steadfast and sustained leadership in promoting good governance in the country by undertaking the second generation country review. The Assembly also encouraged Zambia, having undergone the peer review, to take concerted action in developing a national program of action to implement the findings and recommendations of the report and to align them to the AU Agenda 2063, particularly the second 10-year implementation plan. Madam Speaker, I'm happy to inform the House that I delivered a statement on behalf of President Hakainde Hichilema pledging to take necessary action on the matters brought by the review. The Assembly also thanked the retiring APR members, which included a Zambia national, Ambassador Inonge Mikusa-Lewanika, for exemplary performance during their tenure. The 38th Ordinary of State and Government of the AU concluded with a strong commitment to address the continent's challenges. Lastly, Madam Speaker, I wish to report that on the margins of the Assembly, the President of the Republic of Zambia held side meetings with his counterparts and other dignitaries as follows. The President of the Republic of Zambia held several engagements with key dignitaries aimed at driving economic growth, reducing poverty, promoting regional integration. During these meetings, various issues of key interest to Zambia in the areas of energy, agriculture, infrastructure development, candidature support, and peace and security were discussed. Regarding side events, the President participated in a presidential breakfast on the Madam Speaker, on the Africa Credit Rating Agency. Madam Speaker, this high-level meeting discussed the operationalization of the rating agency, a dedicated credit rating agency for Africa designed to offer fair, transparent, and development-focused credit ratings. President Hichilema also held a joint press conference alongside the SADC chairperson, President Emerson Mnangagwa of the Republic of Zimbabwe, and COMESA chairperson, President Evariste Ndayishimiye of the Republic of Burundi. The leaders collectively expressed their support for our Zambian national, Dr. Samuel Maimbo's candidacy for the African Development Bank presidency, whose elections will take place in May of this year. Madam Speaker, amongst the other activities undertaken was the official unveiling of a new chancery, or the renovated chancery for the Republic of Zambia in Addis Ababa. Again, an event that is well worth noting. In closing, Madam Speaker, I wish to state that the African Union continues to be a vital platform for African nations to come together, share experiences, and work collectively towards a prosperous and peaceful continent. As we reflect on the outcomes of the 38th Ordinary Session of the AU Assembly, let us remain steadfast in our pursuit of ways that our nation can continue to reap the benefits of being
a member of this continental body. Madam Speaker, I thank you.
Thank you very much. There was a lot of chatting. I don't know whether we were even listening and following the ministerial statement. But anyway, because it's a formality, I will now ask the honorable members, those who have points of clarification, to ask their questions on points of clarification on the ministerial statement that has been presented by the Honorable Minister of Foreign Affairs and Internal Security. International Cooperation, rather. I only see one, the Honorable Member for Mitete.
Madam Speaker, I'm so grateful to you. And the entire House is saying clear, everything is clear. But Madam Speaker, I'm glad that the Member of Parliament for Matero is in this House. He had walked away. This one, the Republican President, Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, did attend physically. Confirm, Minister, if the President has never attended a virtual meeting, as was claimed by the Member of Parliament for Matelo, hasn't the President attended any virtual meeting? Can you remember the trico one? No, I'm just giving him examples.
Honorable Member.
On that note, Madam Speaker,
Thank you.
I submit, though the MP for Lufwanyama is saying the cost of the new banknotes that will be first be circulating when Komboka will be taking place, you will also attend. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker, and I thank the Honourable Member for Mitete for giving an opportunity to emphasize the point that was earlier made, that in fact the number of virtual meetings that are attended in the execution of the function of international relations far exceeds the physical meetings that we have. So he has attended a virtual meeting as put by the Honourable Member for Mitete. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you very much. Honorable Member for Kamfisa, you want to ask a question? We want to make progress now. Honorable Member for Kamfisa.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I just wanted to confirm that this has been a very clear statement from the Minister. So we don't have any follow-up questions.
Thank you. Thank you for that. Let's make progress. We have a lot of work to do, but honorable members, just to remind you that we still have a lot of business to transact on the order paper. Questions for oral answer, understanding order 82. The honorable member for Chembe.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, to give the people of Chembe to ask a question. Question number 275.
Thank you, the Honorable Minister of Energy.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The Honourable Member of Parliament for Chembe Parliamentary Constituency is asking the Minister of Energy two questions. A,
A, why are health facilities in Chembe Parliamentary constituents subjected to load shedding by ZESCO Limited despite the presidential directives not to load shed health facilities? In B, what urgent measures are being taken to ensure that the facilities are not load shedded in order to prevent the loss of life? Madam Speaker, our response is as follows. In A, in line with the presidential directives that health facilities be exempted from load shedding, Chembe health facilities are given 12 hours of supply instead of 24 hours due to lack of a dedicated line to separate them from residential areas and other electricity consumers who are supposed to undergo load shedding. In B, government has directed public institutions to install rooftop solar as an alternative to grid supply challenges we are currently experiencing. Therefore, my ministry through RIA is ready to provide technical assistance such as planning, tender documentation, and supervision for the installation of solar. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you very much. Now I want to say subsequent. Subsequent. Supplementary questions. The Honorable Member for Chembe.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Honorable Minister, why is it that mostly ZESCO Limited in their planning do not inform the public the timings of their load shedding? This has been a very big challenge in Chembe, where the planning purposes of government institutions, the hospitals we are talking about, it is not well planned. Why?
The Honorable Minister of Energy.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker, and thank you very much, Honorable Member. Madam Speaker, the challenges that we are facing in terms of the power deficit has really put ZESCO they have really put ZESCO into a very difficult situation in order to be implementing the schedules. And also, Madam Speaker, we are working around the clock to make sure that ZESCO improves in terms of communication with the areas that are being affected. There are a number of factors that are affecting our people, including even vandalism. Sometimes we have challenge in terms of communication. So we are working around the clock, Madam Speaker, with ZESCO to improve in terms of communication in areas that we have got challenges of supply. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you very much. I see interest. Honorable members, just a reminder that this is a constituency-based question. I know a lot of other constituencies are affected, but in order to be within the time, I'm trying to manage time because honorable members, I'm sure you would want to go and attend to other matters. So the honorable member for Chembe, do you have another question?
Yes, Madam Speaker. Honorable Minister, what assurance are you going to give the people that the load shedding that we are talking of will be well planned in tandem with the community aspirations? Thank you.
Thank you, the Honorable Minister.
Thank you, Honorable Member. Indeed, this government has committed itself to make sure that these challenges we are going through are attended to. And how? This is the reason, Madam Speaker, we have decided that intermediate and urgent measures that we can put in place is to go via solar. So the government is making all the necessary plans to make sure that our public institutions are provided with power from solar. So solar is the solution at the moment, Madam Speaker. I thank you.
Thank you very much, honorable members. As I indicated, are you agreeable that we make progress? So we go to the next question. The honorable member for Chairman North.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Question number 276.
The honorable Minister of Education.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The Member of Parliament, Mr. Charo for Chairman North, asks the Minister of Education why local applicants in each district were not prioritized during the 2025 teacher recruitment exercise, B, why the exercise was not decentralized to each district, and C, whether local applicants in each district who were left out will be prioritized during the teacher replacement exercise. Madam Speaker, I wish to inform the House that the 2025 teacher recruitment exercise has not yet commenced. The public will be duly informed once the process is initiated. As a consequence, B and C fall out.
Thank you. The honorable member for Chairman North.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Thank you, Minister. I think it's the way maybe the journals prepared the question. It meant the names of applicants who were announced this year in 2025, not that it's 2025 teacher recruitment.
So then we are not speaking the same language. I believe the honorable member was given the question before it was put on the order paper. There was the question availed to you, honorable member, and did you confirm that it was correct? Honorable member for Chairman North.
Yeah, yes, the letter was written to me. That was, I think, yesterday. So I think there was an oversight. It should have read that the names which have been announced in 2025, but of course, it's 2024 teacher recruitment exercise.
So then, since there is a misapprehension or misunderstanding of what the question is, I'm sure even the honorable minister might not have the information that you are requesting. Honorable members, that's why questions are availed to you, so that you confirm. So under the circumstances, then the question cannot be handled or answered at this time. I would suggest it lapses. Maybe the honorable member can, when we come for the next meeting, can ask the question in the correct format. So we make progress. I know, I'm sure your constituents want some answers, but the honorable minister, we don't want to take the honorable minister by surprise. So the question lapses. So we make progress. The clerk will now read the orders of the day.
The Cyber Security Bill, National Assembly Bill number 29 of 2024, committee stage.
I now consolidate orders number 1 and 2, and the House will resolve into committee. the cyber, which one? Security bill. Okay. Order. The Cyber Security Bill, National Assembly Bill number 29 of 2024. Clause 1, short title, any debate and objection. Clause 1 is agreed to. Clause 2, interpretation, any debate and objection. The question is that Clause 2 stands part of the bill. The Honorable Minister of Technology and Science.
Madam Speaker.
It's not space.
Madam Speaker, I beg to move that Clause 2 be amended with the words as circulated.
The question is that Clause 2 be amended with words as circulated. Any debate and objection? Amendment is agreed to. Clause 2 as amended. Any further debate? I put the question. The question is that Clause 2 as amended stands part of the bill. As many as are of that opinion say aye. Or the contrary say no. The ayes have it. The question is resolved in the affirmative. Clause 2 as amended is ordered to stand part of the bill. Clause 3, establishment of Zambia Cyber Security Agency. Any debate and objection? Clause 3 is agreed to. Clause 4, functions of agency. Any debate and objection? Clause 4 is agreed to. Clause 5, Director General and other staff. Any debate and objection? The question is that Clause 5 stands part of the bill. The Honorable Minister of Technology and Science.
Madam Chairperson, I beg to move that Clause 5 be amended with the words as circulated.
The question is that Clause 5 be amended with words as circulated. Any debate and objection? Amendment is agreed to. Clause 5 as amended. Any further debate? I put the question. The question is that Clause 5 as amended stands part of the bill. As many as are of that opinion say aye. Of the contrary say no. The ayes have it. The question is resolved in the affirmative. Clause 5 as amended is ordered to stand part of the bill. Clause 6, Zambia Cyber Incident Response Team. Any debate and objection? Clause 6 is an objection. Clause 11 is agreed to. Clause 12, hosting of critical information and critical information infrastructure. Any debate and objection? Clause 12 is agreed to. Clause 13, change in ownership of critical information or critical information infrastructure. Any debate and objection? Clause 13 is agreed to. Clause 14, auditing of critical information or critical information infrastructure. Any debate and objection? Clause 14 is agreed to. Clause 15, non-compliance to cyber audit requirements. Any debate and objection? Clause 15 is agreed to. Clause 16, report on cybersecurity situational awareness. Any debate and objection? Clause 16 is agreed to. Clause 17, duty to report cybersecurity incidents in respect of critical information and critical information infrastructure. Any debate and objection? The question is that Clause 17 stands part of the bill. The Honorable Minister of Technology and Science.
Madam Chairperson, I beg to move that Clause 17 be amended with the words as circulated.
The question is that Clause 17 be amended with words as circulated. Any debate and objection? Amendment is agreed to. Clause 17 as amended. Any further debate? I put the question. The question is that Clause 17 as amended stands part of the bill. As many as are of that opinion say aye. Of the contrary say no.
The ayes have it. The question is resolved in the affirmative. Clause 17, as amended, is ordered to stand part of the bill. Clause 18, power to investigate cybersecurity incident and cybersecurity threat. Any debate and objection? Clause 18 is agreed to. Clause 19, cybersecurity exercise. Any debate and objection? Clause 19 is agreed to. Clause 20, cybersecurity risk register. Any debate and objection? Clause 20 is agreed to. Clause 21, Central Monitoring and Coordination Center. Any debate and objection? Clause 21 is agreed to. Clause 22, prohibition of interception of communication. Any debate and objection? Clause 22 is agreed to. Clause 23, prohibition of use or possession of interception device. Any debate and objection? Clause 23 is agreed to. Oh, sorry. I'll repeat. Clause 23, prohibition of use or possession of interception device. Any debate and objection? The question is that Clause 23 stands part of the bill. The Honorable Minister of Technology and Science.
Madam Chairperson, I beg to move that Clause 23 be amended with the words as circulated.
The question is that Clause 23 be amended with words as circulated. Any debate and objection? Amendment is agreed to. Clause 23 as amended. Any further debate? I put the question. The question is that Clause 23 as amended stands part of the bill. As many as are of that opinion say aye. Of the contrary say no. The ayes have it. The question is resolved in the affirmative. Clause 23 as amended is ordered to stand part of the bill. Clause 24, registration of interception device. Any debate and objection? The question is that Clause 24 stands part of the bill. The Honorable Minister of Technology and Science.
Madam Chairperson, I beg to move that Clause 24 be amended with the words as circulated.
The question is that Clause 24 be amended with words as circulated. Any debate and objection? Amendment is agreed to. Clause 24 as amended. Any further debate? I put the question. The question is that Clause 24 as amended stands part of the bill. As many as are of that opinion say aye. Of the contrary say no. The ayes have it. The question is resolved in the affirmative. Clause 24 as amended is ordered to stand part of the bill. Clause 25, variation of certificate of registration. Any debate and objection? Clause 25 is agreed to. Clause 26, surrender of certificate of registration. Any debate and objection? The question is that Clause 26 stands part of the bill. The Honorable Minister of Technology and Science.
Madam Chairperson, I beg to move that Clause 26 be amended with the words as circulated.
The question is that Clause 26 be amended with words as circulated. Any debate and objection? Amendment is agreed to. Clause 26 as amended. Any further debate? I put the question. The question is that Clause 26 as amended stands part of the bill. As many as are of that opinion say aye. Of the contrary say no. The ayes have it. The question is resolved in the affirmative. Clause 26 as amended is ordered to stand part of the bill. Clause 27, transfer of certificate of registration. Any debate and objection? Clause 27 is agreed to. Clause 28, cancellation or suspension of certificate of registration. Any debate and objection? The question is that Clause 28 stands part of the bill. The Honorable Minister of Technology and Science.
Madam Chairperson, I beg to move that Clause 28 be amended with the words as circulated.
The question is that Clause 28 be amended with words as circulated. Any debate and objection? Amendment is agreed to. Clause 28 as amended. Any further debate? I put the question. The question is that Clause 28 as amended stands part of the bill. As many as are of that opinion say aye. Of the contrary say no. The ayes have it. The question is resolved in the affirmative. Clause 28 as amended is ordered to stand part of the bill. Clause 29, lawful interception. Any debate, any objection? The question is that Clause 29 stands part of the bill. The Honorable Minister of Technology and Science.
Madam Chairperson, I beg to move that Clause 29 be amended with the words as circulated.
The question is that Clause 29 be amended with words as circulated. Any debate, any objection? Amendment is agreed to. Clause 29, you wait, I haven't finished. I've seen you. Clause 29 as amended. Any further debate? Mr. Kangombe?
Thank you very much. Madam Chairperson, there's an objection to the proposed amendment to Clause 29, and I want to put it on record, Madam Chairperson, that Clause 29 is what the Ministry is proposing, and they've also circulated an amendment to Clause 29. Now, Clause 29, for those that may not have had time to familiarize themselves with Clause 29.
Mr. Kangombe, just to guide you, I think your amendment is coming after the amendment by the Minister. So we've started with the amendment by the Minister, then we'll go to the amendment.
29. But to quickly comment on the proposal from the Honorable Minister through the bill on what should be in Clause 29, I note that the amendment that has been brought today from the Ministry is at variance, Madam Chairperson, with the current provision. I was expecting that the Minister responsible and the Ministry that was drafting this amendment would actually capture the current provision of the law. So currently there's a provision, Madam Chairperson, and the current provision is very clear that any form of lawful interception should satisfy two particular stages. So the first stage, which should be satisfied in the current law, is for the Office of the Attorney General to provide consent. That is what the current law says. And obviously, because the proposal has not captured that thought, Madam Chairperson, the people of Kamfinsa are not agreeing with the proposed amendment. I would have supported the amendment from the Ministry if the current provision was, the feeling of the current position was captured, which is you first go to Attorney General's office, they provide you with consent, Madam Chairperson, before you do any form of lawful interception. After you've been given consent by Attorney General, then you go and get a court order for you to undertake what is called lawful interception. So the position that I wish to share with the August House this afternoon is that the proposed amendment from the Ministry falls short of the current provision. That is my submission, Madam Chairperson.
Thank you. The Honorable Minister of Technology and Science.
Thank you, Chairperson. The Honourable Member of Parliament is proposing that the bill be changed Our position, Chairperson, is that the clause must be maintained as proposed in the bill. Our position is informed by the fact that the bill ensures clarity, fairness, precision, and protection of human rights in terms of interception process. Specifically, Madam Chairperson, Clause 29(1). As a listening government, Honorable Kamwombe, we accept the change proposed by the Honorable Member of Parliament. The amendment ensures that interception orders are granted based on reasonable grounds to enhance investigative processes while upholding judicial review. Clause 29(2) is not accepted on the following grounds. The requirement for consent from the Attorney General is unnecessary as the judicial oversight by the judge is adequate. It is impractical, honorable members, to expect a law enforcement officer, for example, based in Solwezi, to travel to Lusaka to get the consent from the Attorney General and return to Solwezi in order to get an order from the judge before taking any action, particularly given the unprecedented pace at which crimes are committed in the cyberspace. The current bill has placed stringent mechanisms to avoid abuse by law enforcement officers. 29(3), not accepted. The proposed bill provides clarity on the type of order that is granted by the judge as an interception of communication order. This section in the bill is maintained for clarity. Clause 29(3)(b), not accepted. The bill removed the requirement for a warrant as it is already provided that a law enforcement officer should obtain a court order in order to request for interception to be undertaken. Further, the bill emphasizes the need to engage the center as the sole facility through which interception must be undertaken in order to install an interception device on the premise for the purposes of undertaking the interception. Clause 29(3)(c). As a listening government, we accept and agree the proposed change by the honorable member. The amendment strengthens judicial oversight and prevents potential misuse of a law enforcement officer. Clause 29(3)(d), not accepted. The proposed bill provides clarity on the type of order that is granted by the judge as an interception of communication order. This section in the bill is maintained for clarity. Clause 29(4), not accepted on the following grounds. As explained earlier, the requirement for consent from the Attorney General is unnecessary as judicial oversight by the judge is adequate. Clause 29(5), not accepted. The new bill provides greater protection to individuals from prosecution based on hearsay. The proposal allows for mandatory admission by courts of hearsay evidence obtained from a foreign country. Clause 29(6), not accepted. The bill provides greater clarity on the duration and renewal conditions for interception of communication orders. It provides that the order can be renewed for a further period of up to 3 months to avoid orders being issued for longer durations which may border on violation of privacy of individuals being investigated. Clause 29(7), not accepted. The bill clarifies that the service provider in question is the electronic communication service provider. Madam Chairperson, I beg to move.
Mr. Mpundu.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Except that the Minister may have already jumped the gun, because there are two amendments, Madam Speaker, that are being proposed to the bill. One, Clause 29, one that was proposed by the Minister, another that was proposed by Honorable Kangombe. Part of what is being proposed, because already, Madam Speaker, the Minister has already preempted the amendments that would have been moved by Honorable Kangombe, and I'm prompted to make a submission as to what was being proposed, which he has already responded to. And I want to submit as follows, Madam Speaker. In the amendment proposition made by...
Maybe for the sake of being orderliness, because we are still coming to the amendment by Mr. Kangombe, if you can just hold on to the portion, if you want to comment on the portion, the amendment by Mr. Kangombe, you can come later. Let's look at the amendment by the Minister so that we finish on that one, then we move to the amendment by Mr. Kangombe. Okay. I put the question. The question is that Clause 29, as amended, stands part of the bill. As many as are of that opinion say aye. Of the contrary say no. I think the ayes have it. The question is resolved in the affirmative. Clause 29, as amended, is ordered to stand part of the bill. We now move to the amendment by Mr. Kangombe. Mr. Kangombe.
Madam Chairperson, I beg to move that the bill be amended with words as circulated.
The question is that Clause 29 be further amended with words as circulated. Any debate, any objection? Amendment is agreed to. Clause 29 as further amended. Any debate? Mr. Mpundu? Oh, sorry. We can start with Mr. Kangombe, the owner of the amendment.
Thank you very much, Madam Chairperson. Madam Chairperson, with me are two documents. The first one is the current bill, which was circulated, which was shared last year and which was withdrawn, or sorry, which was deferred and which we are considering today. So Clause 29 in the current bill, Madam Chairperson, has got various provisions. So there's 1, 2, and I think under 29 it goes all the way up to sub-clause 8. Now, Madam Chairperson, the amendments that are provided for under 29, the bill that was circulated, and the amendments which have circulated, I wish to clarify so that everyone understands exactly what is being proposed under Clause 29. Under Clause 29, Madam Chairperson, I am proposing sub-clauses 1, 2, 3, all the way up to 8. And the first proposal that I wish to make under subsection 2 is that, Madam Chairperson, if a law enforcement officer wishes to intercept a private conversation or wishes to intercept communication between two entities or two individuals, Madam Chairperson, the people of Kamfinsa are submitting that currently we have 2 layers of clearance. And I'm calling them 2 layers of clearance because they provide the comfort that the citizens would want to have. We cannot assume that every law enforcement officer is a responsible law enforcement officer. And that is why, Madam Chairperson, the current practice has been, and I want to clarify, and I know that the ministry may raise issues to do with administrative challenges. Madam Chairperson, a law can't be designed based on administrative challenges. A law must be designed on the understanding that law enforcement officers are working in an environment where there's efficiency. So the assumption that we must be making here today is not that we have challenges for people to move from point A to point B to comply with the law. The law is very clear. If you want to intercept a conversation, Madam Chairperson, you need to first go to the Attorney General. And there's a reason why the Attorney General is very important, Madam Chairperson. We can have overzealous officers, Madam Chairperson. We can have officers that will attempt to misuse their privileged authority and begin recording people's conversations simply because they've gotten a court order from the court. And that is why there's a provision that before you go to court, before you tell the court that we suspect something is about to happen between person A and person B, you first have to go to Attorney General, because in the event that you misuse that power which you have, the same Attorney General is supposed to represent you, because you need representation in the event that you misuse that power which has been given to you. So the submission which I'm making today, Madam Chairperson, is simply extracting what is in the current law. So there's a law in place as we debate today. Let us be mindful that there's already a law. And this law, Madam Chairperson, is very clear. If there's reasonable suspicion and the law enforcement officers believe that steps must be taken to intercept that conversation, Madam Chairperson, the law is very clear. Go to AG's office, get consent, and then go to court and get a court order and quickly undertake the requirement for you to intercept a conversation or communication. And I'm asking myself, Madam Chairperson, why are we removing Attorney General from this very important and very valuable process? This is a process, for me, Madam Chairperson, which should be retained in the law that is being considered. I'll be very comfortable from where I'm standing, Honorable Minister. There's no harm in putting Attorney General. And I'm asking this because we can't hide administrative inefficiencies. We must assume that our officers should be given an environment that allows them to be efficient. The way we are dealing with this matter, it's as if we are assuming that there's too much inefficiency in this government. In my understanding, we need to put efficiency in our law enforcement officers. We provide an environment, Madam Chairperson, we give them the tools that they require, we motivate them if we have to ensure that they quickly submit a request for consent, and you don't have to physically move from a remote district to come and get consent from Attorney General's office. We can find a way in which this can be done. We are now considering e-government. We now have Smart Zambia, Madam Chairperson. Efficiency must be there. We can't hide the inefficiencies of our officers in the law. The law should be designed correctly. Go to Attorney General, get consent, go to a court and get a court order, and quickly do the interception. Let's not hide inefficiency in the law, Madam Chairperson. So my proposal under clause 29 is that, number one, yes, we need an order from court, but we also need to ensure that subsection 2, which reads, and I quote, a law enforcement officer shall apply for a written consent of the Attorney General in a prescribed manner and form before making an application under subsection 1. Madam Chairperson, what is so complicated about this very harmless procedure? This is a watertight procedure, Madam Chairperson. And I know that the citizens want the comfort that as we intercept their communication, there is sufficient interventions that have been provided to fact-check the procedure for intercepting the conversation. Madam Chairperson, without belaboring on the matter, I wish to submit my amendment.
Thank you. Before the Honorable Minister of Home Affairs comes in, the Honorable Minister of Technology and Science. Any comments on the submission?
Madam Chairperson, in my presentation that I made a little earlier, and you said obviously the process I was supposed to speak, after I had made the submission, is that the consent from the AG's office is doesn't carry the substance, because you still need the final measure, the final exit, which is a court order. And that is what is critical. So we are saying that because of the speed of crime in the cyberspace, let us be able to ensure that we facilitate speedy resolution of crimes. I submit, Madam Chairperson.
The Honorable Minister of Home Affairs.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I would like to buttress the point that is being made by the Minister of Science and Technology. Madam Speaker, we should all note that when an amendment is being made to a law, it entails that there is a mischief that the amendment intends to cure. In this current situation, we are curing a situation where we avert a crime being committed and not act after a crime has been committed. If you want to intercept a conversation and you are aware that there is a conversation that has criminal elements in it, you have to take immediate and prompt action. If we wait for the authority of the Attorney General, the action would have already taken place. And you'll be acting after the event, after the damage has been done. In the event that the interception is malicious, there are remedies that are available before the courts of law. I would like to give an example of what transpired in the UK recently, where members of the public were circulating messages inciting members of the public to riot. If the security wings in the UK were to wait for the long processes of obtaining orders and authority, harm would have been done. And because in the UK they also had a similar situation, they had to quickly amend the law so that members of the security wings could quickly move in and avert a crisis. In the amendment which the honorable member is making, he is telling us that don't worry, wait until the crime is committed, and then you can go and get an order and investigate. A conversation happens simultaneously and concurrently. You cannot wait. You can't wait. You'll be behind criminality. That is why we are saying and making those amendments which we are making, Madam Speaker. I support the proposed amendment.
Mr. Mpundu, it was supposed to be your turn to contribute. Do you still want to contribute?
I want to contribute, and also on this particular point I'd raised, I wanted to raise on a point of order, but I can combine them. Because the minister has tried to sway this conversation to try and bring in the UK. The precedents or the rulings of this August House is that we don't discuss other nations and what is happening in there. I have been curtailed several times by the speakers that I cannot infer or bring, what is happening in other countries. And so the minister was almost confusing us to bring in the UK. We are talking about Zambia here. Madam Speaker, my submission, Madam Chair, I want to submit in support of the amendment that has been made by my friend Christopher here, who is basically asking for something that should be very easy and very simple. Honorable Minister of Technology, you know for a fact that you have literally bulldozed this amendment against the people of Zambia, against several outcries from major stakeholders.
The honorable member for Mr. Mpundu, please avoid calling your colleagues such as Christopher.
Amunandi, Madam Speaker.
No. The people of Zambia are listening.
Okay.
You are supposed to address him as Mr. Kangombe when
Oh.
the House is seated in the committee of the whole House.
Chafina, Madam Speaker, Mr. Kangombe. Okay, boy, no, Mr. Kangombe. Okay, Mr. Kangombe's proposition. Honorable Minister, you do very well remember that at the beginning of this conversation, vis-a-vis the amendment of the cyber, security law, several concerns have been raised. Number one, starting with your levels of engagement with major stakeholders, because these laws affect every citizen. And it was imperative from the beginning that you needed to have engaged stakeholders. The Committee of Parliament had submitted that they were objecting to this amendment, which is the reason why in the first place there was that withdrawal you made, or deferment of this particular conversation. Today you are back, and Mr. Kangombe is asking a very simple, making a very simple request. Minister, we are entitled to privacy as citizens, okay? And therefore to subject us to having our conversation be, intercepted at will is obviously not a fair proposition that you are making. And Honorable Kangombe here, or Mr. Kangombe here, is basically making, or proposing that we have a better, or rather, a tight, a system in terms of accessing our private conversations. To suggest that we have a two-layer system of getting consent for your officers to intercept our conversation is not so much to ask. Besides, in the submission, chairperson of the minister, he wants to run away from, in the name of the Attorney General is not present, everywhere in the country. He gave an example of Sorezi not being represented by the Attorney General. Honorable Minister, you wish to know, the Attorney General now is represented in every part of the country. What Mr. Kangombe is simply suggesting is that sometimes these officers are simply overzealous, and because of their working relationship with the court, sometimes they can easily get that consent. So we would like to put another layer. We would like to put the Attorney General, who literally represent, the public by way of, legal representation, and also will be representing government peradventure that issues of being sued, the government being sued, arises. So it is only fair that the Attorney General is involved when an officer is making a request to intercept our private conversation, so that even our rights to privacy are at least safeguarded. So, Honorable Minister, for me, I don't see anything sinister in the request that is being made. Remember, we have allowed you to have a field day despite you bulldozing yourself, despite you, Honorable Minister, forcing yourself.
Bulldozing, I think, is unparliamentary.
Bulldozing?
Yes, yes. Can you find a better word? In the manner it has been used?
Mr. Speaker, Mr. Minister, Uncle Felix, what I'm basically... Mr. Mutati.
Honorable Member, kindly address the Minister.
Or for him, Mr. Minister.
Yes.
Honorable Minister, again, I want to make this very simple request. You have literally imposed this law on the citizens against the outcry. And you are aware, as late as a day before yesterday, the CSOs had issued a statement again asking you or urging you to consider their submissions. And part of what the SOs have submitted is that you cannot be as simple as you are trying to suggest by way of removing what the law already provides, where there is a two levels of consent. You go to the Attorney General, you go to a judge for an officer to be able to intercept our private conversation. I think that you must be magnanimous at this stage to be able to at least give way, because there's no way you can bulldoze or rather impose a law like that.
Order, Honorable Member. I think I had guided you to withdraw the word bulldozing. I said find another better way. The people are listening out there, and then when they hear you mentioning that name, it's like the members are not given an opportunity.
Madam Speaker, I'm replacing bulldozing to imposing, because, you know, we all do agree that the minister has literally imposed against the wishes of, you know, the Zambian people. And when we say the Zambian people, we are talking about major stakeholders. Madam Speaker, we should never be meant to think that the UPND are Zambian people.
Order. Order. Let's be mindful of the words that we are using. We don't want to paint this parliament with a bad picture. All the procedures are followed. Even witnesses were involved, Madam Speaker, including the members of parliament. So let's be mindful of some of the words that will give a wrong picture to the people out there.
Thank you, Chair.
And the honorable member, can you please summarize your submission? We don't have enough time.
With your indulgence, Chair, I think that I stand on authority when I make this insinuation, particularly, you know, imposition. Because we read the report of the committee, Chair. The committee submitted in its report that all the stakeholders that were engaged had actually proposed that this be shelved. Even when the minister deferred this particular conversation and engaged whoever they engaged, because they did not submit whoever they engaged, the CSOs have actually written a statement in which they are again arguing that the minister has not taken on board.
Let's not go to talk about the whole bill. We are looking at the submission by Honorable Kangombe, but now you are bringing the procedural matters. Can you be specific so that we do not waste time?
But Chair, me, I'm basically building on on 29. Mr. Kangombe has made a request that the minister here.
What is the chair?
Madam Chair.
Can you please wind up? We give a chance to the other members. In fact, there was an indication for a point of order. The honorable member for Zambezi West.
Is making a phone call.
Mr. Kambita, what was your point of order?
Madam Speaker, I rise on a serious point of order. And first want to orderly debate in this House. Madam Speaker, we are degrading. I may not 71. Madam Speaker, I noticed that this parliament, the standards are being brought down, especially by new members. Yes, because what I know, Madam Speaker, that's why you see me addressing you. This is how parliament is supposed to operate. One cannot stand here and addressing another member instead of addressing the chair. All debates are supposed to be through the chair. But here we are, a member is continuously addressing the minister concerned about this bill. And he goes on like that, and I've seen it being done by many members continuously. Is the honorable member on the floor in order to continue on that trajectory, reducing the standards of debate of this august House as per commonly accepted Commonwealth practices of Parliament? Madam Speaker, I seek your serious ruling.
Which one? Is this one?
It's supposed to refer to this one. The member should address this.
Okay. Thank you for that point of order. I think we've kept on reminding the members when they are debating, they are supposed to address either the chairperson or the speaker. And that is standing order number 64-1. There is that tendency of looking in all directions as if you are addressing other members. The practice is that you address the chair and not even the minister who's raised the motion or the question. It's supposed to be addressed to the the chairperson. Now the honorable member for Mr. Mpundu, I think we've given you adequate time. We've run out of time. There are other members too who want to contribute. Honorable members, can we please summarize your submissions? We don't want to hear the long stories. We've read what the bill is all about. We've read the suggested amendment. Let's try to be brief. I'll give chance to the next member, Mr. Mungando.
Thank you, Madam Chairperson. Madam Chairperson, I've gone through the amendments, proposed amendments. Probably before I put my position across, allow me to just highlight the background of communication, particularly telecommunication to do with mobile phones, internet, and many others. Probably if we appreciate the invention, how it came into existence, I'm sure, Madam Speaker, you agree with me that it was inconceivable in the past. Actually, it used to be demonstrated in fictional movies that people can talk using a cell phone. Let the members of the public and this House understand that the first communication, including internet, was for security purposes. Only the military departments could use internet and could use cell phones. They made it available for civilian use after they had put in measures to monitor the use of these services by civilians. So make no mistake, even if you get a cell phone, whether WhatsApp, don't think you are hiding. This you should understand. So where is the fear? If I'm communicating today with Honorable Member for Chiluvi, we are discussing the well-being of this country. Where is the problem? I am submitting that on behalf of people of Chama South, I'm not seeing anything wrong with, I'm speaking my mind. Madam Chairperson, I need protection.
Order, honorable members. Mr. Mungandu, we are looking at the submission by Mr. Kangombe.
Madam Chairperson, we've heard the debate, and we have also to make our submissions through those lines. We are here, I think, to present ideas. If people have made their ideas, we also have to submit our ideas. Progress. Yes, so if I look at this amendment, Madam Chairperson, there's a lot of abuse that is going on. A lot of people's lives have been put at stake. Someone will just wake up and insinuate that, Madam Speaker, a honorable member has received 10 million kwacha. The money that someone has not. How do we put such characters to account? No wonder they are objecting to this very good bill. They know they'll be caught and they'll be made to account. So for me, Madam Chairperson, if this is going to vote, I'll vote against these amendments. Let the bill stand the way it has been couched. We need to bring sanity in the digital. Let people be responsible. You can't just wake up, you start defaming people. We need to find a way of checking who is doing what. Yes, not until you yourselves are affected. If you are in a habit of defaming others, telling lies about others, it's high time you are fished out. And that can only be done if you are recorded. If anything, even if you use cell phones, if you are a security threat, the security agencies are interested in you, they will still record you. This is a fact. If we do not have express law to bring you to book, this is the reason certain people, you see them being pushed right, left, center, because we don't have the law. But now that we have the law, we should be able to pierce that corporate veil of liars and bring them to account. So for me, Madam Chairperson, I'm not in support of these amendments, in short. And I submit, Madam Chairperson.
Thank you. I will allow the last member, Mr. Kangombe.
Madam Chairperson, once again, I want to indicate...
You can summarize?
Yes, I'm summarizing, Madam Chairperson. Once again, for those that may have not followed the conversation, the summary of our submission from Kamfinsa, Madam Chairperson, motivated by what the members of the public have been able to say, what the stakeholders have been able to say, Madam Chairperson, the submission is clear and very categorical. The law definitely must mandate law enforcement officers to undertake what is called lawful interception. There's no one who's objecting to lawful interception. We might actually be mixing things which are not even under consideration. Lawful interception simply means the law allows you to intercept a conversation. Where we are differing, Madam Chairperson, where the views are different, is the manner in which the interception should be done. There is a law in Zambia currently, and this is my summary, called the Securities and Crimes Bill of 2021. From 2021 to where we are today, Madam Chairperson, the law is very clear. Go to Attorney General, get consent, go to a court, get a court order, and quickly do the interception. Madam Chairperson, we should never hide the inefficiencies of government in the law. The people of Kamfinsa, once again, submit that Clause 9 be amended. I thank you.
Thank you. The Honorable Minister of Technology and Science, together with the submission from Mr. Mungandu.
Thank you, Madam Chairperson. Just to summarize, is to compare the harm that is about to happen to a person and the speed that you can put to prevent the harm from occurring. If a person is seized, the process is to save life. If you go through the consent order, consent to the order, you'll be correcting after the cat has bolted. The damage is done, and what is the use of the consent? So we are emphasizing in the amendment to protect and ensure that the crime doesn't take place. That is much more paramount than process. I submit, Chairperson.
Thank you. We have to make a decision whether to take in the amendment by Mr. Kangombe or not. I put the question. The question is that Clause 29, as further amended, stands part of the bill. As many as are of that opinion say aye. Aye. Of the contrary say no. No. The noes have it. The question is negative. Therefore, amendment falls away. Clause 30, interception of communication to prevent bodily harm, loss of life, or damage to property. Any debate and objection? The question is that Clause 30 stands part of the bill. The Honorable Minister of Technology and Science.
Madam Chairperson, I wish to submit a step-by-step process of interception of communication to prevent bodily harm, loss of life.
I think you've got a different script. We are on clause 30.
Yeah, I'm on clause 30.
Okay.
I'll come to okay. This is just an introduction.
Okay.
It's an introduction. So by way of introduction, I was saying I'm going to enumerate the step-by-step
You can
process.
go ahead, Honorable Minister.
Thank you, Madam Chairperson. Clause 30 on page 29 should not be deleted. A deletion of this provision will have dire consequences for the country. The provision is critical to address emergency situation to prevent bodily harm, loss of life, or damage to property. In various abduction and kidnapping cases, the law enforcement has dealt with in the past. This provision has been used to respond quickly to the emergency and rescue the victims. Madam Chairperson, as a case in point, a maid and a garden boy in Lusaka connived with outsiders to kidnap 2 kids. When the matter was reported, this provision was invoked and the kids were rescued within 4 hours. The provision also upholds judicial oversight over the interception process as a safeguard against potential abuse by law enforcement officers. Madam Chairperson, this provision has been part of our legal framework originating from sections 68 and 67 of the Electronic Communication and Transaction Act of 2009 under the MMD government and was incorporated under section 30 of the Cyber Security and Cyber Crimes Act of 2021 under the PF government. Further, Madam Chairperson, the government's decision to maintain this provision was arrived at after wide stakeholder consultation with the general populace and civil society. And just, Madam Chairperson, part of the civil society that we consulted was the Law Association of Zambia, Bloggers of Zambia, Panos, Chapter 1 Foundation.
Minister, I don't know whether we are together, because the question was straightforward about clause 30.
It is clause 30 that I'm talking about. Yes.
Okay. Because we are just supposed to say, I beg to move that clause 30 be amended with words as circulated. I don't know what to do from the speaker.
Madam Chairperson, I beg to move that clause 30 be amended with the words as circulated.
Speaker. Thank you. The question is that clause 30 be amended with words as circulated. Any objection? Any debate, any objection? Amendment is agreed to. Clause 30 as amended. Any further debate? Mr. Kangombe.
Thank you very much, Madam Chairperson. Madam Chairperson, allow me once again to thank your office for allowing me to move amendments to clause 30
Again, Madam Chairperson, it is important that colleagues who are familiar with this provision underline the word oral request. There's a proposal, Madam Chairperson, in the law, which is basically...
Are you talking about your amendment, Mr. Kangombe?
Yes, Madam Chairperson.
No, we are on the amendment by the minister.
Okay.
Yes. Your amendment is coming soon after we agree on the amendment by the minister. I put the question. The question is that clause 30, as amended, stands part of the bill. As many as are of that opinion say aye. Of the contrary say no. The ayes have it. The question is resolved in the affirmative. Clause 30, as amended, is ordered to stand part of the bill. What is? Okay. Clause 30 as amended. Any further debate? Mr. Kangombe?
Thank you very much, Madam Chairperson. Madam Chairperson, clause 30 in the bill is basically empowering the law enforcement officer to undertake what is called an oral request. Madam Chairperson, my amendment to this law is that we should delete the entire clause 30, remove it from the bill, for the simple reason, Madam Chairperson, that we've already discussed other provisions in the law that deal with a procedure for intercepting communication. Why are we providing clause 30? Clause 30 is basically saying there must be provision for an oral request. What is an oral request? An oral request, which is a very dangerous provision, Madam Chairperson, is basically empowering law enforcement officers to go to any ICT service provider to orally request. Oral request means by word of mouth, to simply say we have reason to believe that person A and person B are about to commit an offense. Madam Chairperson, do you need an oral request when the procedure in clause 29 is already sufficient? We've spent so much time here, Madam Chairperson, discussing what should be in clause 29. Why are we providing clause 30, which is talking about an oral request? We are basically giving too much power to law enforcement officers, Madam Chairperson, when we've already told our law enforcement officers that here is the compromise. Get a court order before you do any form of interception. Why should we then provide clause 30? And this is why, for me, Madam Chairperson, without even spending too much time, anyone who has taken time to read clause 29 and clause 30 will agree with me that there is no need for clause 30. Clause 30, Madam Chairperson, is empowering law enforcement officers to undertake what is called an oral request. An oral request simply means you pick up a phone and you call a service provider to say, can you record person A or person B? Can you intercept communication between person A or person B? That is what the sentence is reading. A law enforcement officer may orally request an electronic communication service provider to intercept. That is what the law is proposing. Oral request. Madam Chairperson, we've just spent almost 20 minutes discussing a prescribed procedure. Go to court, get a court order. Why are we then putting clause 30? What is the purpose of clause 30? Are we saying, Madam Chairperson, that our officers have been misusing the law? Are we saying, Madam Chairperson, that law enforcement officers...
Honorable members, I wish to inform the House that the following arrangements have been made for lunch. Lunch break will be from 13 hours to 14:15 hours. The House will resume sitting at 14:30 hours. Honorable members will have their lunch in the restaurant here at Parliament buildings, while the members of staff and ministry officials will have their lunch at the members' motel. Transport to and from members' motel for staff and ministry officials will be available at the entrance of the library building, and lunch for honorable members, ministry officials and staff will be provided courtesy of the Right Honorable Madam Speaker. I urge all honorable members to be punctual and request party whips to ensure that the quorum is formed at 14:30 hours so that we adjourn quickly. I thank you. confused today. Sorry, we are all confused today, some of us. So as the time is 13:01, I suspend business until 14:30 hours. I thank you.
Suspended until 14:30, later in the day. At the time business was suspended, the House was considering the cybersecurity bill, National 29 of 2024, and Mr. Christopher Kangombe, who is Kamfinsa area member of parliament, was just advancing his amendment. So when business resumes, the member will continue debating. Let's quickly look at what has been considered on the floor of the House when business was, when business has begun at 9 hours today.
Yes, indeed. So business commenced at 09 hours today, and Madam Speaker did recognize the presence in the public gallery of pupils and teachers from Triple Alliance Digital Academy, Free and Primary School in Lusaka District, and also pupils and teachers from Thornhill Boarding School in Lusaka District. And Madam Speaker, on behalf of the National Assembly of Zambia, welcome the visitors to the National Assembly of Zambia.
The announcement that was rendered on the floor of the House was to inform the House that Parliament Radio will be migrating from Astra 4A satellite under Vision Consult GmbH to the Azamakos satellite. The migration process will begin on Tuesday, 1st April 2025.
Madam Speaker stated that during the migration process, the Parliament Radio remote sites across the country will be off air. She did add that, however, the Lusaka frequency, which is a 92.5 FM, will still be on air. In addition, Madam Speaker stated that Chirundu, Mazavuga, Moze, parts of Joma and Kawe will also be able to access Parliamentary Radio on 92.5 FM.
She further stated that transmission at the Parliament Radio remote sites across the country is expected to be restored by Friday, 30th May 2025. The inconvenience the process will cause to the Parliament Radio listeners, especially in our remote sites, is deeply regretted. So those were the announcements that were made by the Right Honourable Madam Speaker. There were 3 ministerial statements that were rendered on the floor of the House. The first ministerial statement came from the Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, and this is Honourable Ahimbe, and this one was on the official working visit to Japan, and the Minister did give the brief background about the entourage that accompanied the Republican President, Ms. Hakainde Hichilema, to Japan from 3rd to 5th February 2025. He did say that some of the cabinet ministers and senior government officials that accompanied the President was the Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, Honorable Chipoka Mulenga, also Minister of Commerce, Trade and Industry, Honorable Charles Milupi MP, Minister of Infrastructure, Housing and Urban Development, and other senior government officials. These accompanied the Republican President.
In addition, the Minister said that the President held several fruitful engagements, including a bilateral meeting with His Excellency Mr. Ishiba Shigeru, Prime Minister of Japan, the Chief Executive in charge of Africa, at Toyota to show cooperation, including a tour of a Toyota Motomachi factory, a site visit to Horiba Limited, a tour of a sustainable waste treatment plant, as well as an audience with His Majesty, the Emperor of Japan, among other engagements.
The Minister further said that under the able leadership of President Hakainde Hichilema, Zambia has taken steps to strengthen the long-standing bilateral relations with Japan, a strategic partner for Zambia. During the official visit, working visit, President Hakainde Hichilema held fruitful discussions with his counterpart Prime Minister Shiguro, during which the two countries acknowledged the long-standing bilateral relations and reaffirmed the need for continued collaboration to further deepen bilateral cooperation.
The minister added that the key highlights of the visit included the signing of a bilateral investment treaty and the holding of a Zambia-Japan Business Forum, which stands to give impetus to Japanese investment in Zambia.
The minister further said that President Hakainde Hichilema confirmed Zambia's participation at the Osaka Kasai Expo 2025, scheduled to take place from April to October 2025. The Expo 2025 will present an opportunity to showcase Zambia's potential and will also continue to contribute to Zambia's effort aimed at strengthening business ties with Japanese companies.
The minister did add that Japan will this year host the 9th Tokyo International Conference on Africa Development, TICAD 9, from 20th to 22nd August 2025, and President Hakainde Hichilema has confirmed Zambia's participation.
And in conclusion, the minister did say that the president successfully managed to reset Zambia's long-standing historical relations with Japan and reaffirmed the political commitment required to enhance bilateral cooperation between the two sides of the mutual benefit of the two countries and peoples. The implementation of the signed bilateral investment treaty for the promotion and protection of investment and the Zambia-Japan policy dialogue and other outcomes of the visit must be expedited for the momentum gathered to continue and for intended benefits to accrue to the Zambian people. So that's the first ministerial statement that was rendered on the floor of the House.
Yes, indeed. After that ministerial statement, the Minister of Home Affairs and Internal Security did render a ministerial statement on the issuance of national registration cards through mobile registration.
And the minister, through the National Registration Office, did say that it periodically undertook mobile issuance of it did say that periodically undertakes mobile issuance of national registration cards in all the 10 provinces for Zambia to capture eligible Zambian citizens. He further said that the citizens to participate in economic activities and strengthen electoral process as provided for in the 8th National Development Plan. The target is to capture all eligible Zambian citizens who have turned 16 years or above since the last mobile issuance of NRCs was undertaken. Additionally, the minister said that the exercise will also facilitate the issuance of NRCs to persons who have lost or damaged cards. The focus of implementation will be rural areas, particularly in far-flung areas where there is no access to national registration offices. This is where most of the people who cannot access national registration offices for routine registrations are concentrated.
The minister added that the approach will be grounded in the principles of transparency, accountability and fairness. The minister further assured the House that this exercise will be free of corruption and like the practice is seen in the previous regime. He added that the minister stated that any officer found engaging in corrupt practice will face stringent disciplinary measures. He added that our government is committed to maintaining public trust and ensuring that the exercise is carried out in a manner that upholds the values and honesty and fairness. The minister further added that it is tangible demonstration of government's belief in democracy as the bedrock of the nation.
And it is during the same ministerial statement where the Minister of Home Affairs and Internal Security disclosed that this exercise will commence on Tuesday, 1st April 2025 and will run for 3 months. The exercise will be preceded by orientation for all officers to ensure they meet the projected target of registering 3.5 million Zambians. The estimated cost of the exercise is about 440 million kwacha. Let's quickly look at the other ministerial statement that was rendered on the floor of the House, Joe, and this one was also rendered by the Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, Honorable Mulambo Haimbe, State Council MP, and it was on the 38th ordinary session of the Assembly of Heads of the Africa Union held in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, from 15th to 16th February 2025.
Yes, indeed, Apostle. So the minister started by saying that, by informing the House that Zambia was among the 49 out of the 55 Africa AU member states that participated in the 38th ordinary session of the Assembly of Heads of State and Government of the African Union held in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. He added that the assembly was held from 15th to 16th February 2025 under the AU theme over the year, Justice for Africans and People of African Descent through Reparations.
That's part of today's business that has been considered on the floor of the House, but do remember that there was also a ruling that was rendered on the floor of the House. 2 questions, or should I say 1 question was considered on the floor of the House. The other one lapsed, and currently the House is considering a bill, the Cyber Security Bill. We'll be able to let you in on some of the details of the ruling that the Right Honourable Madam Speaker made earlier in the day. We'll now take a short break as well. We'll be able to let you in more details just before we cross back to the chamber. Joe and I will be on hand to give you live commentaries just before we cross back to the floor of the House at 14:30. Remember, the 2 sign language interpreters, Chola Kauma and Jason Manda, are on hand as well to do the sign language. Keep watching Parliament Television.
Parliament TV, bringing Parliament closer to you. Parliament is open to members of the general public who may wish to undertake familiarization tours of Parliament buildings, either in groups or as individuals, or to attend sittings of the House or parliamentary committees. All those wishing to visit Parliament can either write to the Clerk of the National Assembly of Zambia or simply come to Parliament buildings. Upon arrival at Parliament buildings, visitors are required to identify themselves. A passport or national registration card is required for identification purposes. All visitors to parliamentary premises are required to wear smart attire, either office or casual wear. Before gaining access to the galleries, all visitors are oriented and issued with passes by the Security Department at the Media and Visitors Center. Those whom permission is granted to sit in the galleries will be ushered to the appropriate galleries by protocol officers. Furthermore, visitors are not allowed to take with them into the galleries such articles as walking sticks, umbrellas, briefcases or parcels of any type, newspapers, magazines or cell phones. All such articles must be deposited at the reception desk. Visitors to the galleries are given copies of the order paper which shows the order in which the business of that particular day would be taken. You can follow all parliamentary sessions and committee sittings on GoTV Channel 28, Topstar Channel 5, DSTV Channel 272, Parliament Radio, or like the National Assembly of Zambia Facebook page.
And welcome to today's episode of the Journey to Breaking the Silence, where we get to share stories of individuals living with HIV/AIDS in collaboration with the National HIV/AIDS, STIs, TB Council Zambia. Today we share the story of Miss Regina Katungu Chileshe. Miss Chileshe recounts her journey when she was first told of her HIV status.
At first, when I was diagnosed as I was tested HIV positive, it wasn't easy. Yes, it wasn't easy. I had a lot of questions to ask myself to say, how am I going to overcome this disease since I'm the firstborn, and how am I going to manage it? So the courage which I had was, I had a friend who was working at the clinic. The way she used to see me sitting without talking, getting worried, that's how she invited me to go to the clinic. From that time, she cancelled me. I couldn't accept the very day. So it took about 2 weeks. Again, she invited me to the clinic. So there was this counselor, he was a Bemba. She asked me the name. I told him. When she said, Bachidesh, so it's not the end of it. It's the second word. So you are going to know yourself and you are going to live much better. So the more you are giving with stigma, the worse now the people will be able to know that you are sick. That's how he encouraged me, and that's how I got tested. The challenges first which I went on was who to tell as the next of kin, because when you're on medication, you need to tell somebody. Maybe your sister, if you have a mother, you should tell one of the relatives. So it became a challenge to organize which one now am I going to tell. So luckily enough, I had this second born who used to see my life going on and off. She's the one who said, Mom, I'll be there for you. Tell me when you went to the clinic, what was it? And then I was free because she also counseled me. She said, Daddy died, so you don't want to lose you as well. So she said, I'll be there for you, Mom. Whatever situation, if it's collecting the drugs, I will be going there when you are not feeling well. So that's how I told her, and she came on with me. That's how she used to counsel me, talk to me. That's how I got myself happy, and I stayed with this girl almost 5 years without telling anyone of the family. That's how I got on. When now I got used, then I had to tell also my last born. I said, I'm HIV positive. I was tested when your daddy died. And she said, wow, Mom, we are happy for you since we didn't want to lose you. That's where I am. At least now I'm comfortable, even in the community. People, they even admire me to say, even if you get the virus, look at the way Mrs. Chileshe looks.
Medication is a lifeline to people living with HIV/AIDS. Ms. Chileshe explains how the access to medication and healthcare has been.
When you're in the second line, the drugs, they don't work. So with me, I had no challenges. I used to take them on the right time, the right dosage, so it has never given me any complications. At first, when I was taken to the clinic, when I was not doing anything, people you could see them that they were not looking at me nicely. But I was happy when I joined the support group, the NZP Plus empowered our group.
Through community work, Ms. Chileshe dedicates her time to empowering her neighbors with insights on managing life with HIV/AIDS.
The community chairperson, chair lady, it's not easy to share with the friends, but at the end of the day, I get used to it as they see me doing a lot of things, and I really need your help to challenge this stigma, because as earlier I said before, like my friend who is seated here, she's in my status, and she has got a sister at the hospital in the same status, and she has got one again at home in the same status. So as a chair lady with my status, it's really a challenge. I need at least help so that I can keep on my business moving, so that I can be helping in the community.
But what does living positively mean to Ms. Chileshe?
Despite to my status, the only way where you can go, the way I'm looking, is to keep yourself Instead, some people think when you are HIV positive, now this is